Tonight we have four. The first one's from Deborah Canoga, and she says, when I purchased my home in April of 2018, I was not aware, nor did anyone include the title agency ever say anything about a right-of-way on my property, which would allow for the installation of a cell phone tower. I did not want this tower on my property. I proposed that Verizon pay me rent of $1,500 a month as long as I continue to own this property. I've been made aware that it might be impossible to sell my house at its normal value due to the obtrusive cell tower that will be on my property. I propose that when the time comes to sell my home, that Verizon will pay the difference between the actual value without the cell tower and whatever offer I get at the time. I pay taxes on the whole entire property, including the right-of-way. I propose that Verizon pay a portion of my taxes for the area where they drilled, as well as the ugly platform on my front lawn. I nor my young adult children want to be exposed to any type of cell phone radiation that may cause harm. I propose that Verizon put up a $10 million bond in a trust for future medical expenses that may arise due to this 5G cell phone tower for any and all harm caused to myself and my family. Verizon subcontractor drilled into the water main on my front lawn in April of 2020. This caused our family to go without water for 5 hours. I had to replace the water filter in my brand new refrigerator. I would like to be reimbursed for $49.12 for the new filter. I propose that Verizon only install these 5G towers in common business areas and not residential neighborhoods. It is unfair that any homeowner in Farragut that I need to be stressed out by this whole situation and need to stand up for myself and my family. This is ridiculous, and I hope the town of Farragut can keep these towers out of our residential neighborhoods. Our second one is from Moline Sutton. She says, I've lived here in Farragut since 1991. In lieu of the meeting tomorrow, I'm writing to continue to object to the installation of the 5G cell towers in my neighborhood until 100% safety of this radiation can be proven. I personally have spent approximately 60 hours studying this topic, and further residents have spent considerable more time than this. I'm wondering how many hours who are approving these 5G towers installation have spent studying their own safety. There is an entire document with a worldwide experts called the 5G Summit. I would ask that you all watch it and get the transcript to make the correct decision for our town. Cities across America have stopped 5G installation in their towns, as well as entire countries throughout the world who have done their research and concluded that this is very unsafe technology that will bring much disease into our life. Please step up and do the right thing to protect our health. I know many homeowners are concerned about their property values, which is a legitimate concern. I certainly would never purchase a property with a 5G cell tower on it. Yet that concern would probably not be on the top of my list if I had cancer. Our next one is Bill Hardin. We, the citizens of Farragut, we have come a long way with what we're trying to do, but there is still more left to do. First off, let me say thank you, Mayor, Assistant Mayor, and Aldermen for supporting the voters and the citizens of Farragut. Now is not the time to rest, but to keep letting Verizon and other contractors that they are trying to come into our neighborhood with an unsafe 5G program. None of them can tell you how safe 5G is. There have been too many studies and reports by doctors and engineers to show that 5G will do damage to the human body, not counting the thousands of poles they are going to put up in our residential neighborhoods. And our final comment is from Mike Mitchell. He says, Mayor and Aldermen, a cellular radiation baseline in Farragut must be established to make sure no home in Farragut is exposed to more than the U.S. federal limit for cellular radiation. To do this, Farragut must purchase radiation testing equipment and first establish a baseline for all existing cellular towers in Farragut. Then, as a new cell tower or antenna are installed, they must be measured. A computer database to record these tests must be created. Having more than one 5G small cell tower on a pole or on an LCUB pole should not be allowed in the town of Farragut. This may increase the radiation load beyond federal limits. While this will increase the number of poles with 5G antennas and towers, it is the only way to make sure no family is exposed to radiation in excess of federal limits. I'm concerned by last week's Farragut Planning Commission meeting. I agree with the Planning Commission that the MCI Metro application for installing more fiber optic cable should have been denied. The work to date from MasTec is unacceptable. If the actual work is done by MasTec, why isn't MasTec the applicant? It seems that having MCI Metro being the applicant provides no accountability from MasTec. Why did Mike Machka identify himself as employee at MCI Verizon when MCI Metro was the applicant? Is this a deliberate attempt to confuse? Can Farragut require that the firm that does the work be the applicant? What bond is put up to install the fiber optic cable? Is it a sufficient based on the recent experience? From the very beginning, there has been very little accountability from MCI Verizon and its subcontractors. Time after time, they refuse to answer questions from BOMA, the Planning Commission, and Farragut residents. I think we are well past trust, but verify. We have trusted but not received verification, and results have been very bad. I asked the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to pass a resolution to request Governor Lee sign an executive order to halt the deployment of 5G facilities within the rights-of-ways of our local communities belonging to the public until such time as the only agency with the authority to do so, the FCC, reevaluates by an independent study the adequacy of the radio frequency emission standards and concludes on a basis of sound science that those standards and standards adopted as a result of said further study are adequate to ensure that the health of the public at large will not be adversely affected by long-term exposure to radio frequency emissions from the placement and operation of 5G wireless facilities throughout our communities. That's from Mike Mitchell.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our citizens forum for tonight, and the time is approximately 8:06. And without objection, the May 28th, 2020 Farragut Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.